read the agenda?
I have.
Are there any additions that you want to put in place?
I gotta pull this all back.
I gotta pull the agenda up.
Yeah, I'm trying to, you surprised me. I know I shouldn't be surprised because we're here for a board meeting.
Yes, first thing on the list every week.
Well, is that how it works?
I don't remember if it was 7 yet.
Yeah, that the time snuck up on me.
Talking about platform, you know, when we were talking about platform, we're just gonna yell. Ooh.
Oh no, we've got plenty to do. I don't even have it.
Why can't I find it? That's it? Okay. Glasses. I'm good.
Okay. We have some guests here tonight. Thank you for coming, everybody. I'm going to start over here, and board members, if you would take a moment, introduce yourself, tell us why you're here, and then we're going to go on around the room. So, go ahead, David, you start.
My name is David Atkin. I'm the database manager, and I'll answer any questions about my report, which is at the bottom of the board reports.
I'm Frank Atwood. I happen to be your liaison to the Center Right Coalition that meets here every second Monday morning at 9 to 10 o'clock. And I'm also happen to be an advocate for approval voting.
Just type.
I'm Darko Vukovic.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Darko Vukovic.
Would you spell that for me, sir?
D-A-R-K-O. And then the last name is Vukovic. B as in Victor. Okay.
Yeah, well, that would be great.
B as in Victor.
And then, because
Okay.
I know that things have changed
Just,
a lot. Mine
citizen,
expired in
originally
April
from California.
next year.
I've been very libertarian oriented for a while now.
Well, glad you came. How about you?
I'm Paul Smith, the Lakewood. I would say I voted for Gary Johnson 4 times in my life because I lived in New Mexico while he was up.
Well played.
I just want to get involved.
Hey.
Thank you.
We're glad you came.
Actually, I don't mean to criticize, but I volunteered multiple times and never heard back. So I decided to just time come.
Oh, we'll put you to work. Don't worry.
Are you in Jefferson County then? And have you met with the Jeffco Libertarians?
Actually, I think I have an email from you, and I have not responded to it, so my apologies. Sarah?
Oh, I'm Sarah. Yeah, I'm doing the sheriff meeting with Eric. With Eric. I'm doing the sheriff and we're talking with Eric.
Okay.
I'm Michelle Pogue, and I'm sitting in for Eric tonight because he's being sworn in. He asked me to sit in his place.
Yes.
He's going to be running Veterans Affairs for Arapahoe County.
I think he's in Arapahoe, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. And so you have Eric's proxy? Right?
Yes. Your name for that last year.
I'm Justin Matthew. I've been a libertarian for a while, not registered till about this year, and really I just want to make a difference, and I really believe in the libertarian platform, and I think it's going to make a difference, especially if people like me start stepping up.
Excellent. All right. Welcome, everybody. Has everybody read the minutes from last month? Were there any corrections necessary? All right.
For once, I did not have any corrections.
No.
Oh, man.
This time.
Brilliant minutes.
Brilliant.
All right, guys, we'll go to officer reports. I have nothing to add to mine. Vice?
Well, mine got in there a little bit late, so I hope everybody had an opportunity to see it. Dave, that was on your posting, correct? The vice chair one?
I believe I got that in.
Okay, I think you did. I seem to remember seeing it, but I was kind of in a rush that day, so I didn't terribly notice. So if nobody has any questions, I don't know if you noticed, Kevin, tried to shorten some sections. I'll continue to try to whittle it down for you a little bit more.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope I'm moving in the direction you were hoping for. So, okay.
Hey guys, I want to bring up something here. You know, David busts his chops to get everything posted on the website, so we have to be a lot more supportive of his efforts in making an effort to get our reports in on a timely manner. He really needs them by the end of business on Wednesdays. So be cognizant of that. Don't put him in a bind where he has to jump through a lot of hoops by getting your reports in late.
Well, and as a point of order to that, it is in our very few standing rules that we have right now, that we do have it turned in by Wednesday afternoon. I did falter on that this week myself, but that is, I agree, something we need to make sure we do.
All right. Treasurer.
Nothing to add.
Okay. Fundraising? Do you have anything for Eric?
No.
Okay. Campaigns?
Yes, I need to add that today Todd Mitchum suspended or stopped his campaign for Congressional District 2. And so I am now looking for someone to fill those shoes. So
Say again, I'm sorry.
Todd Mitchum stopped his campaign for Congressional District 2. He feels that America is not quite ready for a positive campaign, and so will not be continuing. So I am now looking for a Libertarian who would like to run for Congress.
In CD2.
CD2.
Perhaps.
David!
Oh,
No, I don't live in District.
pointing at Daniel.
You don't have to.
What I was
Already
going to
declared.
say is I think I sent you somebody
Great.
who was interested.
Yes, you did.
As a point of information with regards to congressional districts, you do have to live in the state, but you do not have to live in the district.
That is correct. You actually, I would have to clarify Colorado law. I don't even know if you have to live in Colorado, to be honest.
Okay.
That'd be even cooler.
Yes.
Sounds like there's something for a seat for someone with experience running.
So might be
For it.
moving to New Jersey.
It might be moving to Jersey, yes.
Don't have to live in Colorado.
All right, is that it for you, Kim?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Outreach.
Outreach, we'll have to add something to the report since there doesn't currently exist a report. So this will be kind of a abbreviated oral report. We had a couple of events that we were involved in during the month. The incredible Halloween party. Night of the Living Statist took place. We had roughly 35 people in attendance. We actually captured a total of $782.99. Somewhere between the fund raising director and my associate here will be reading the total report and passing that on to our treasurer. We had expenses documented of $587, so we cleared $196. That out of mailing 500 people to get 35 people to show up, and was frankly a little bit disappointing. We did have an appeal in the mailer that asked for, if you could attend, to go online and make donations, or on the other way of making donations. I don't know if there was any uptake in donations over a period of a week or two in advance of that, or no real change. So that's that. Last night, we hosted at our home the Kokesh or Not President 2020 Freedom Tour, or the also known as the Taxation is Theft Tour. And I think with a lot less push from our part, we had significantly more attendance. We had 47 people there. I don't know how much money Mr. Kokesh took in, but I saw him counting it to the upwards of $1,000 plus range from the attendees at the event. Eric did collect some money from the sale of the CDs. What he told me.
I don't think it was a large amount.
So we had some Libertarian swag and stuff laying around. and they also auction off some CDs, audio CDs from the 2008 convention that took place here in Denver, National LNC Convention. So that'll be part of their report. We've been asked to potentially participate with Douglas County in a Festivus celebration. Traditionally, Festivus is held on December 23rd, and the intent would be for us to get together and air our grievances against the state. I have been asked just very recently by our chairman to help support some publicity, an event that would take place Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, which is very quick. That's right? On the front of the Lindsay farm.
Talk about that a little bit more, would you, Kevin? Because I don't think everybody here is aware of all that. So if you would give us a little bit of background about what's going on.
Is anyone here not familiar with the Stop the Shakedowns initiative?
Steve Corbell.
The Corbell initiative. So that petition drive is actively in place. It's our lovely champagne lady is showing her. Requires 96,000 signatures across the state of Colorado. It doesn't matter what county you live in. It's a total of 96,000 legitimate Colorado voters. So Steve is trying to get a total of about 150,000 so that we have enough excess to survive all of the dropouts and throwouts. So it's, I think, the final date for turn in of those petitions is sometime in March. So we do have some time. He's apparently got something going on with Fox 31 that wants to do a video segment on the citizen activism, collecting signatures in front of the courthouse. It'll be at 1:15 on Wednesday. I'm gonna get some more details from Steve. He's probably already got an
Wednesday or tomorrow?
It's when your text said.
I didn't have a chance to read it. I just forwarded it to you.
Yeah, but I'll get with Steve. I think it's Wednesday.
Okay.
And we already have something up on his Facebook page, but this just came in an hour ago.
I would encourage everybody to go to that if you possibly can, because the more bodies we have, the more exposure we're going to get for the Libertarian Party. And it's going to be televised, so it's worth the effort for everybody to show up and be here.
So
Remind me of the time again.
how are we getting that
1:30.
information out?
It's going to be, Kevin posted it on our
Yeah, I'll
Facebook
get it up on our Facebook pages and many other.
How about just
Sure.
email it to the board too? Not everybody does Facebook.
Sure,
You still young enough
Well,
to do that.
sure.
I don't
And
know.
by the way, you know, that's probably a good idea in all of our events that we have some sort of internally, but we need your support to pass this on to your circle, individual circles. I'm a little discouraged sometimes with what I see in reaction to events that are posted. They don't seem to have really any impact, and it's been frustrating to me that
I never see those.
I end up getting, well, you know, a lot of these things end up on Meetup too. And everybody's got different, I don't do Facebook, but I do Meetup. I don't do Meetup, but I do Facebook. I don't do either, but I'll look at email. We try to get the word out as many ways as we can, but once you do get the word, if you can take it on yourself to pass it on to your community of friends, that just incredibly magnifies the reach that we have on these things.
This might be a good opportunity, Daniel, for you to reach out to the all the different county affiliates and see if they can get on the phone and start generating some interest to this, because this is a big opportunity for us.
I was going to send one out either tonight or first thing in the morning.
Where is this 1:15 event on Wednesday taking place?
That's at the Lindsay Flanagan Courthouse. The address is 520 West Colfax.
Can you please describe, I'm lost, so we, the visitor, what this petition is, what?
It's a ballot initiative to put before the people a proposal that any fines, fees levied by government, municipalities, and state would first of all go to a victim, if there is one. So if you have a $1,500 fine for some cause against him, that $1,500 would go to him. If there's not a victim, that $1,500 would go to a charity, a legitimate charity of your choice registered in the state of Colorado. It would not go to the government. You would still be liable for any court costs or fees associated with fines and so.
It would motivate me to come here. Involved last 3 years in 5 court cases.
Okay, guess we
Three
can
different
continue this
municipalities.
conversation after the meeting.
Let's do it later.
If you want to make a note to yourself, you can go to www.stockashakedowns.com and you'll have the entire write-up on it. Okay. We're getting back into kind of pre-fair season, and May and June are huge. We've already had some notices from People's Fair just putting out publicity. We're not anywhere near deadlines, but something for the board to consider. Cinco de Mayo, the dates are 5/5 to 5/6. People's Fair dates are 6/1 to 6/3, and Pride Fest 6/16 to 6/17. The cost to the party for each of those events is somewhere, I believe, between $350 and $400 a piece. That sounds right, John. So we're going to need to factor in, if we want to participate in all 3 of those again this year, somewhere between $1,050 and $1,200 to participate in those 3 events. And as I see the deadlines coming, I'll be asking for those approvals. And just so you know, 2 of your very loyal outreach event attendees, Kevin Brent and Michelle Polk, will be out of the country during Pride, during People's Fair. Will be in Sweden and Norway from 5/25 to 6/6. So we'll be looking for somebody that can actually pick up the stuff and set up the booth and organize the whole thing and tear it down. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Kevin. Regents.
I have one addendum to my report. Along with the fundraising director, we made between 400 and 500 lapsed membership calls, getting at least 5 people that guaranteed that they would re-up their national memberships, and probably somewhere around 70% leaving messages with individuals. So hopefully those generate a couple of renewals as well.
Do you have an opportunity to ask for donations for the state party as well while you have them on the phone?
No, unfortunately, we did most of our calling on Fridays. We may revisit that and set it for a Saturday or Sunday. But typically when we caught people, they were kind of busy. So it was, if we got them to accept to renew, we let them go at that point.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you, Daniel. Is Mike with us on the phone?
Go ahead,
I am. Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, you bet.
Okay. Sorry about not getting a report in. I was just tying up things for my campaign for city council. But I just wanted to make everybody aware that there is Principles of Liberty training coming up in Colorado Springs on December 2nd and in Denver on Saturday, December 9th. And Rich and Lori Bratton really like to have libertarians in attendance, whether we actively participate with the program or not. It helps with the classroom environment because we definitely understand principles over pragmatism, and we can display that, and it helps get their point across to Republicans who are mostly in attendance. So if we can get some libertarians to those 2 seminars, they're still working on locations for those. But as soon as it comes out, I will continue to get those posted and the events shared. And then one of the things that I wanted to share with the group today, the Colorado Joint Budget Committee met at the state capitol. And the topic of discussion first came into play was PARA, the Public Employees Retirement Association, and the long-term $32 billion underfunded liability. The other thing that came in to discussion was the growth of government in Colorado over the last 20 years. And I want to share a few numbers with you if you would allow me the time. In the last 20 years, the growth of government in Colorado in specific areas, Medicaid has grown by 583%. Education K through 12 has grown by 268%. Higher education has grown by 320%. Health and Human Services has grown by 149%. Transportation has grown 210%. Corrections has grown 251%. And the state judicial has grown by 345%. And if you go back and you take in basic inflation plus population growth, you're only looking at a 200% increase in those numbers. But look at how rapidly in 20 years all of those departments, major departments, have grown. So it's something to take in consideration. And we just need to continue to get our message out there and try to find a way to cap and turn this growth with our message the best we can.
Okay. Anything else, Michael?
No, that's it for now, other than, just tying up and doing some after-action review on my campaign. And it took a lot of time and energy, more than what I thought, to run an active campaign. But it was enjoyable. Was able to knock doors and have a lot of great discussions with people and stay on principle the whole time. And my wife was able to help me do that as well. And one thing that anybody who had supported my campaign, especially people that I never had met, while they may not have agreed with me 100%, they had found that I was very grounded in my principles. And some people voted for me just for that fact, because they said, you know what, it's nice to have would elect somebody to city council that's got nothing to hide and is upfront with all of that. So I would just like to encourage those in the party, and I will be stepping up my game, especially for those who are willing to run active campaigns. I will be willing to get out and walk and talk to people and support those active campaigns 100%. It was a struggle for me and just a couple local volunteers to get it done, but we worked hard at it and made some headway.
Showing Michael that was dynamite. Real quickly to Mike's point, of the board members here, who has not yet taken the Principle of Liberty training? I would encourage you to take it. It's worthwhile.
Very
Very
worthwhile.
good.
Very worthwhile. Mike, I did have a question for you. Do you know how the Principles of Liberty in Fort Collins went? I was not able to make it. I know that was the first time Rich had done it up there.
I don't know. I haven't heard from Rich or Lori on what the turnout was like to that. Usually Lori messages me and wants to know if there's going to be libertarians in attendance, so she can kind of have an idea, to help focus in on stuff. But I have not heard anything this time around.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Michael. Clayton, was Steve going to try to call in?
No. Steve's email indicated he wasn't going to make it at all.
Communications.
You must have did, David, the bundle at the same time I was updating, because it's my October report that's in the bundle, but my November report's in the drive. But I copy October and then type over it, and it must have just been at the exact same time you were doing it. So if anyone wants to see my November one, you need to look in the drive. But there's nothing like earth-shattering or anything. So just let me know via email if you have any questions. But that's why the October report is in here.
Records?
Nothing to add to my, well, I do have a couple things to add to my report. One is, Karen, your LNC thing said that they're supporting a resolution about Yemen.
It's
for us to adopt.
passed.
It passed?
No, it's in the past, it failed.
It failed, okay. All right.
And I'll explain that in my.
Okay. I'll leave it. Also, there was a really good Tabor article came out that explained the whole history. You saw that?
Very good.
And they made it into a podcast as well.
Oh, nice.
And NPR did that despite some of their biases that they may have.
Oh.
But they actually did a fairly good job about it. Is that something we want to link to on our website? I mean, it's not a libertarian thing, but it is a limitation of taxes and
We
growth.
should definitely get on Facebook.
Yeah.
Should I send you a link? Yeah. Okay. All right, that's all I have.
LNC report.
Okay, so I know Mike has read my report, the newsletter thing. So yeah, it's been a lull, but now it's getting busy again. We have an LNC meeting at the beginning of December, and it's the annual budget meeting, so that is always quite fun. But the resolution, there was a resolution proposed by Nick, and Nick very rarely proposes on his own, and he doesn't need any co-sponsors when the chair does it, on Yemen, but it actually failed because there were and I'll tell you why I didn't vote for it. So probably, I think if I had voted for it, because I think Nick convinced everyone else to switch their vote, but I wouldn't switch my vote. Our resolutions as a Libertarian Party aren't going to make a change in Yemen. We aren't in the legislature. So to me, if we're going to make statements, they need to be solid, bold statements, because otherwise there's really no purpose in doing it. And the Yemen resolution gave a wink, wink, nod, nod to the war on terror. So it basically said, get out of Yemen, but you could still be running around shooting terrorists wherever. And I just wouldn't sign on to that. If it was a clean resolution that only said get out of Yemen, I would have been fine with that. But that's why I didn't vote for it, and why everyone else who didn't vote for it also didn't vote for it. That's it. I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Staying committee, technology, Clayton.
Right now, I am working on upgrading LPCO affiliated website security.
Why is that? Did something happen, or?
There was a security incident, and also completely separately, I'm also independently helping to upgrade the security of LPCO affiliated websites.
Oh.
So, but there is something actively going on right now, which I'm working to resolve.
And we'll get back to you about your equipment needs here at the end.
Okay.
David, do you have anything for us?
I think I mentioned in my report that we need to consider getting the Secretary of State's file again in January. So if somebody will make a motion or do something.
What's the cost of that every time we do that?
$50. If you want, I can order it.
Well, I don't think we need to vote on this every time.
Have there been any changes? We just had the vote, but they won't get that until like February or so.
I thought we had voted before to make to buy
Do
it
it
quarterly.
Yeah, we have
So
to
should-
for the affiliates.
The last file we had was from the 1st of August. So there will be a number of, with all of the
So we're
voter
due.
registration leading up to the election, there will be a bunch more people.
We are
Plus
due by our
plus the
quarter.
purges, so
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
I think getting it in January, no, the 1st of January is fine.
Do you want the 1st of January or want December?
1st of January is fine with me.
Because we got to get our next one in time for the convention, which would be,
March, April.
when is the convention?
End of March.
23rd of March.
So if we get it the 1st of March, only like 2 months.
Well, it doesn't matter to me, but
So we were talking about getting it quarterly, and quarter would be now. If we got it in August, that would be all of August, all of September, all of October. It's due now, with the next one being February, March, somewhere in that time period. So
When do we need to be registered as a Libertarian in order to qualify at convention? What date?
90 days.
90 days. So yeah, I would say by January 1st-ish, you're walking a real thin line.
well,
Yeah, so-
if the convention is on the 23rd of March, then 90 days is the 23rd of December. So getting,
the-
So if we get one on the
25th.
1st, yeah, well, whatever. But if we get it on the 1st, then that covers it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we'll be okay if we fledge a month. I mean, if you think it makes sense, it works out better for the intended purposes of that 90-day limit.
But I'm assuming we're going to purchase it again in March anyway.
We will purchase it again in March, I'm sure, but we should have a list of who is eligible 90 days before convention. So I would think that getting it around about Christmas would be.
You could. Now you can also in March, it tells you the date they registered, so you could, I mean, you can use the March one. You don't have to get it that right 90 days.
There is that then too. That's right.
So then we could do what Richard said.
I think it's more important to keep the affiliates updated. When we agreed to do this, we agreed to do it quarterly, and that's kind of what they're expecting, is that quarterly we give them updated results, and I don't want to put it off. I mean, that's my thought. We can take it to a vote if we need to, and I may lose, but I just think it's very important that we keep our commitment to the affiliates and give them the data that we told them that we would give them, including updating it.
I agree with Richard here. It seems to recall we had quite a bit of discussion and a vote, and I think we were actually a little more definitive as to what quarterly meant.
I believe we defined it, yeah.
Report. So if we got our first report in August, it's either every 90 days, or we're going to get on the schedule, or it's going to be the first month of the quarter, or the first.
It takes them a little bit to get it, so I can just order it tomorrow.
And something was communicated to the affiliates, and they have an expectation of the right to us to keep those dates.
We have anything on the policy manual here?
I just want to update everybody on policy manual too. So policy manual, our last meeting was the 10th of October. As my report indicated, we were supposed to be meeting every other week, and we have not been successfully doing that. The focus has not gone on policy manual by any means, but it seems that as we've entered the fall quarter, it is committee season, and there are lots of committees and lots of schedule conflicts. And I am hoping that the last email I sent to everybody on policy manual was a suggestion of setting a date and whether people could make it or couldn't make it, being true to that date and making sure that we repeat every 2 weeks just for consistency purposes. In the past, we've tried to work around people's schedules and move the date here and there, whether it's on a Friday one week or a Thursday the next time. And I think that has led to us slowing down. The progress we've made is fantastic, but I do believe that the policy manual committee is a little bit off track, and hopefully that will be resolved by next meeting.
Platform committee discussion. Put it on.
Oh, the national, never mind. I thought you were talking about Colorado.
We're still on bylaws mandated committee reports.
Yeah, that's not, I didn't put that on there.
Oh, forgive me, I missed that.
Yeah, no wonder I'm.
Bylaws? Bylaws?
Did platform have anything? Or state platform?
That's Clayton's the chair of the platform.
Well, there you go, buddy.
Well, I mean, that is our report right now. It's platform committee.
So we have an unofficial internal meeting coming this month, and next month we have our first official meeting. We haven't nailed down the date yet, but that'll be online, and I will email the communications director as soon as I have the date. I'm waiting on some members' feedback for their availability.
Well, Mike is chairing the bylaws. Yeah, he's not here. So
I can do it.
You've got it?
Yep. So Constitution and Bylaws Committee had their first meeting. During that meeting, we discussed the idea of combining the Constitution and Bylaws into one governing document. The committee overwhelmingly decided that that was not in the best interest of the state at this time, but that perhaps next year's committee may want to take that on, or future committees down the road. So that is something that other committees may consider. What we pretty much have decided to do is to look to past reports, specifically the 2017 convention report and 2016 convention reports, find bylaw and constitution recommendations that were made that were never heard on the floor and present those to the floor. So I don't know how many, from my perspective, how many new proposals there may be outside of previous reports, but there are a number of proposals that in the last 2 years that have been put forth that have never been heard by the membership at large, that we feel, and I certainly feel, the membership will need to hear at convention, and that's where our focus is going to be, at least initially. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 4th, I believe. I could be off a day or two on that. If you read my report, it has the date and time. We will be meeting electronically. Information has been communicated to the communications director, but I am not sure if it's been sent out yet. Do you know the bylaws meeting?
I sent out the meeting.
Did you?
link.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. I
I'm
wasn't sure.
pretty sure I did.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So that meeting information is out there.
I believe I did that immediately after the close of the meeting.
Bam. On it.
The next item that we have on here is a convention committee, and we have a little bit of a problem here. And I guess I'm going to take things out of order a little bit. Eric has turned in his resignation. He was approved to take that position with the Armed Services Committee for Arapahoe County, and he's very excited about that, but he has to step down from his position here with the board. He was also chairing the convention committee.
And policy man.
So we're going to need somebody to step up and fill his shoes.
So I'm sorry, but just point of information, you're telling us that Eric has resigned as a board member, not just as a committee chair.
Oh, that's correct. It's a board member.
And what is this thing he's doing? Veterans what?
Veterans Affairs.
Veterans Affairs, really? He's going to head it or what?
He's on the advisory committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't recall, Wayne, that he was resigning from all of his committees and he doesn't have.
That's the email that I got this morning.
He did?
Yep.
He's backing on everything.
Now, he'll still be on the committees. Forgive me, Kevin, I misspoke. He's still going to be on the committees, but he has stepped down from the chair position on anything that he's chairing.
So do we have a convention committee?
We do have a convention committee. Who else is on the convention committee here? I know Michelle's driving the bus on this one. And Sarah, you too? Okay.
I'm not actually on the convention committee, I just work as a consultant to Eric. And, and I would continue to answer questions and help whoever is doing this, but I do not have the time that it takes to do the site visits that need to be done and to organize the campaigning, the advertising. I just don't have the time.
Where are we on that?
We do need somebody that can get to it like ASAP because we don't have a hotel. We know that we have a hotel, we can't even really say we have a date.
Right.
Because we can set a date and then if we can't find a hotel for that, they'll have to change the date. So, we looked at a couple of hotels. Unfortunately, we probably could have done it if we had started last April. We probably could have made those hotels work. But because we're so close to the wire, we do not have the money to advertise to make sure that we have 200 plus attendees. And that's the only way we can afford those particular hotels.
School gym.
That's where it sits right now.
Yeah, the first hotel, I think the only hotel that we got a quote from was in the DTC, was it the Sheraton?
Sheraton, yes.
That's something like $16,000 just for basics.
You would have been making a commitment, I believe, with taxes and service charges, and you have to commit to the hotel rooms if you don't sell them. The
Guaranteed
commitment
revenue.
was, I think, $23,000. And I just don't see that the party has $23,000. I mean,
Especially off
obviously,
year.
ticket sales and stuff would go against that, but that's, to be liable for $23,000.
Be a lot of ticket sales.
Yeah, it really is. And that doesn't include cost for speakers or cost for any badges or any printing that you have to do or any advertising. It doesn't involve any of that. That's just the hotel space and part of the meals. Doesn't even include all of the meals. Only a percent, a small portion of the meals. We just had to make a commitment to spend X amount of money in concessions. There are a couple of other, we're looking at the hotel on Chambers and let's say Airport Road, and they look like they were a little bit less expensive, but they don't cut a deal for rooms against or meals against the cost of the meeting space. It's just flat out $7,000 for the space. So I think we could probably find something better. But I honestly, I need someone that can step up and actually go do the research that it takes to do
I think there was some mention of a hotel in the Stapleton area. Somebody else suggested something
In Loveland.
north of Loveland.
Well, I will reach out to Eric next day or so, and I'll find out what his, what type of a commitment he's going to be able to keep with us. But we're going to have to find a chair for this committee very quickly.
Is there anybody here, board member or otherwise, that is interested in chairing that committee at this time? If not, that's okay. If there is an interested party, I'd like to.
In assisting with that.
Assisting, okay, so we can look at putting you on the committee, but nobody interested in chairing at this time.
And we're still going for a full-blown one instead of a business-only convention in a school gym kind of thing?
I think we should probably rethink that, and that we should maybe advise the next chair to rethink that, given where we're at on venue, time, space, et cetera, et cetera.
Cost.
Yeah.
We have an issue, though, that we committed with the LSLA.
We did. And
Oh.
that was my next point.
Oh, dang.
What was that conflict again?
And we're gonna
So
let them
the
use our convention.
LSLA has agreed to do their meeting here in conjunction with us. They'll help pay for the meeting space that's required, that they're going to require. On a daily basis about giving them a date. So I gave them our proposed date, but of course we don't have anything solid yet.
We're kind of
Yeah,
stuck.
if we don't have to do the last week of March, if we can move it to the first week of April, that gives you another week to get your stuff together. Or if you go 2 weeks into April, I don't know how hard fast that March date is, that you really want that March date.
You got mail.
Thank you.
Hello.
Sherry, you had your hand up a little bit.
Yeah, I
You
know,
had
just
something to add?
like, Eric was really just telling me what to do, so I what exactly is our budget for renting the place for the convention? Because like Eric is supposed to know all that stuff and just tell me what to do. So I don't really know that when I get a piece of paper to myself. So
Well, I think that's something that you're going to have to defer to Michelle on, because Michelle, you're kind of driving that bus, aren't you?
Well, yeah, so for lack of a chair, I'm the only one in the room that really knows anything, so. I need help, I can't do this.
Michelle?
You've got too much going on too, yes.
I can't chair the committee, but I would be more than willing to help leverage my contacts to find a suitable venue. So if you want to give me a call about that, give me the particulars of what we're looking for, and I will reach out to all my contacts in the event industry and see what we can come up with. I have a couple of relationships with hotels in the area, so might be able to find something.
Wayne, I think, I'm sorry, Karen. We've got communication from Eric. I'm looking at an email right now that was just a couple of days ago. He had a contact with the Holiday Inn at Stapleton, Crown Plaza Denver Airport Convention Center. One of the other committee members mentioned the Embassy Suites in
Loveland.
Is it possible for Eric to kind of give us a cutoff of the communications he's had? He's got a couple of proposals that right now that he's the only one that's seen.
Yeah, I'll try to get all the information I can from next day or so.
So that we can effectively hand that off to whoever it's going to be and not have to start all over again.
Just an FYI, not that anything works around my schedule, but I counted on the end of March because that's what we said. And I've booked other conventions now. I will be out of town because as an LNC person, I get invited to a lot. And when I was told the 23rd, 24th, my April and other March is gone.
John?
I'd just like to remind everybody that currently, or the date I did this report, we had just shy of $7,800 spendable money. That was a lot of it set aside. That's what we have.
Let me, I might be interested in heading the committee. Let me talk with Eric because I did have his number and we had talked about potentially meeting up so we could talk about things. What would be the commitments necessary at this committee? If, just on the surface at least.
Well, you handled that last year. Could you
I didn't
address
have the
that?
committee last year.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know what the
She don't
commitment
want
is?
credit for that.
Basically, it's a bunch of moving parts you gotta bring together.
Yeah.
And you gotta get these guys together for regular meetings. There's a lot of work.
So-
There's a lot of work to be done.
Here's my thoughts. There's a lot of unanswered questions. We don't know what Eric knows, doesn't know, and that sort of thing. We need to start there. I would suggest maybe if you can email chair@lpcolorado.org, that'll get you in touch with Wayne. Find out what you can find out, and then let's blast it out to the board, and we can figure out, maybe we can even vote for a new chair if there's somebody who presents themselves. But then we can get the ball rolling again. I feel like it was almost at a, not standstill, but wasn't moving very fast anyway. So it should be pretty easy to pick it up and pass it on if we can get the information. But there's too many unanswered questions right now.
Yeah, I'm sure Eric will give us whatever he has, so.
So I would say, hopefully, maybe by the end of this week, hopefully we can get that ball rolling again. You think so?
Just kind of a recap of the activities that I know of. There's been one meeting, one face-to-face meeting. Not all of the committee members were in attendance. The second scheduled meeting, Eric canceled because he was ill. And there was one site visit that was to the DTC hotel, and I'm not sure who went on that site visit. Did you go on that visit?
I got like sick on a bus and I didn't get like all dehydrated, but Eric went.
So that's,
I tried to go. Like, you guys said you went and left away. Like, I told them it was 2 bus stops away.
Karen?
I remember there was a location that, oh no, I'm having a senior moment. Our past fundraising director, Clint. Oh my God. He was talking, it was like a retreat center, wasn't in Larkspur. It's in our emails if you do a search for it, that he thought would be cheaper and a little bit unconventional, but it's a outside of the box thing. And if we can't find it in our emails, I'm sure Clint would be glad to tell us because he was bringing that up often.
The problem with that is it's an hour and a half drive to the closest airport. So that's not very convenient.
Who's flying?
Speakers.
Well,
I picked
But
up a
if
bunch
we do
of them
something
last
that's a little less
Expensive, we might
expensive and
free up budget.
and we might get people in Colorado. I think we've always kind of gone a bit overboard, but that's always my view on it. But I mean,
We
we're-
can make that suggestion to whoever we can get to chair this group. I think it's a good idea to look at it. I'd like to see it anyway, so maybe I'll make the trip down just so that I have the.
Is it Spruce Mountain?
It's a Renaissance festival. Just kidding.
Hey, I do weddings there, don't knock that.
Got the castle.
Moving on, I'll take the reins on this one. I'll reach out to Eric tomorrow and I'll gather any information that I can and I'll blast it out to everybody. And in the meantime, we need to try to get some people to step up and help Michelle so she's not burdened with everything. Karen?
I'll forward this. I found Clint's email. I'll forward this to the board. It is Spruce Canyon Retreat, Stone Canyon Retreat. I'll forward this right now to everyone. He has prices and stuff in here, so. Of course, this is, I think, a year and a half old, but
that would be a good candidate to be around.
Clint is running as far away as he can from the Libertarian Party.
No, he's not. He just doesn't want to be burdened with it. All right.
That's what I
Do we
meant.
have anything on the stock committee?
The which committee?
Next meeting is this Wednesday. All except for myself, I believe, are expected to be there, and hopefully we can finalize some suggestions and changes. Yeah, so next meeting Wednesday.
It's going.
Yeah, it's going. It's working.
Old business. Matt Ferguson lawsuit. And this is one that John and Mike and I were on a conference call with the law firm, and we had a pretty great conversation with them. I think
Point of order.
Yes.
A lot of this was dealt with in executive session, so I'd like to caution that
We can still discuss, but we
in
need to make sure we
general, but it's
filter.
very, very, very general.
Good point, Karen.
But we did open up the means of communication, and I think in that regard, as per the direction from the board, we were able to open up communication and get some background from them about what it was that they needed from us. And I think we're probably going to have to take this to a executive decision. I do have one thing that, and Mike, I don't know if we can ask this right now without going to an executive meeting, but we have to give them the commitment tomorrow.
So
I see no reason not to. And so once again, that needs to be part of an executive meeting, but.
do you want to just turn off the cameras for a minute, go into executive session?
Well,
And
we'd have to ask the guests to,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we can do it when the session's adjourned.
yeah, we could do it at the end.
Do we need to do it?
Let's take this to the end. We'll shut it off and then we'll finish up. Okay. Mailing on New Libertarians. This was re-raised again by Karen. Where do we stand on that?
Well, now that we lost our fundraising director, I'm not sure, and Steve's not here.
I would suggest that we just
Karen,
keep it on old
Karen.
business and move it.
David?
Oh, David.
I spent some time with Steve training him on Nation Builder email blasts. So once Clayton gets the permission set up, then he should be able to do that part of
Okay.
it. There's about 550 or so. And I showed him how to do it and everything.
Okay.
So I think we're making some progress.
Okay.
Yeah, that does not say anything about the New Libertarians we don't have email addresses for. So those are either going to have to be done via U.S. mail or ignored.
How many of those are there, David?
I think about 4,000.
Karen?
Weren't we talking about a postcard program that we were doing too?
It's very expensive.
Well, without Steve being here, probably just going to have to move this to next month. All right, how about adopt a road? That's something that I haven't heard any movement on. Who's heading that?
Kevin, but he had, it was a November thing, it was.
Yeah. I've had some communication with your Douglas County, Beatrice. Some of the things we have to deal with a little bit here is currently what you guys are doing. You have to go to a DOT facility, pick up your vests, and then you have to return them afterwards.
No, we don't ever have to return the vests.
No, we have them in our basement.
She sent me this whole document.
Oh, well, we kept them.
What
We
she's
have them in our
supposed to do.
basement.
So you're
Screw the state.
You have decided to, keep state property, and that's good for you.
They're very cheap.
At any rate, to kind of take into account, as a state group trying to do this, we need to find an area where we're gonna get the biggest support, biggest bang. I don't know that you guys have been tremendously successful getting a big group of volunteers to come, and we've done it twice now.
Oh, we've had,
That's good turnout.
Fair.
And so we're currently doing Douglas County. If we're gonna try and stay within the metro, do we wanna look at something in Denver County that's central?
I would say,
Want to go the
obviously,
opposite end,
the
to go
purpose
up
of this
north
is to
and
be
try
doing
to bring
community
down.
service, Kevin, but also, if we can't get a sign up that people are going to see when they drive to work every single day, I mean, that's the real value for us. So that has to be the kind of the driving factor for wherever we do the work. So we can get a
I'm
sign
open
up
to
that's going to be
suggestions.
seen.
What are the top 5 places there? Is there a
Sixth
road
Avenue.
in a given area that we should request? It's not one of our
Sixth
top
Avenue.
5.
Sixth
Sixth Avenue.
Is there a reason we're not pitching down to like El Paso County or Colorado Springs? Because I feel like that area we could definitely get more traction.
Well, I don't know that having it on a busy highway is our best plan, unless it's an off ramp or something like that. When people are going 75 miles an hour, they're not going to notice a sign.
Yeah, I don't think you could adopt an off ramp.
Yeah. Well, Karen?
well, also, I don't think we should do it in an area where there's an active affiliate because that's kind of stepping on their toes a little bit. So I wouldn't want to do it in Colorado Springs because that would be El Paso if that's something they want to do. So I think the requirements are a decently traffic area where people will see it, and where there's not already an active affiliate that we would seem like we're kind of.
Given another point, if it's somewhere not within the Denver metro, I would prefer we do this in conjunction with an active affiliate or even a development group. We're going to need local support to keep up with the logistics of this thing, the scheduling dates, getting volunteers. You know, I don't want to end up, you know, calling on the same 8 to 12 people for every event that we do. We need to spread this around a little bit. And I'm just open to suggestions, but I would always prefer if there's a statewide initiative and we have affiliates, and maybe we toss it out there and say, you know, we will partner with any affiliate that wants to adopt a road within their area and help them, you know, generate support for this thing. But for us to just pick one section of highway somewhere in the state and get something more than the 5 to 8 people that are going to come every time. And frankly, I've got way too much going on right now all of a sudden to be the guy that runs down to the local DOT and picks up vests. Is responsible for anything that's outside of 15 minutes from home.
Well, why don't we throw that out? Danny, would you throw that out to some of the affiliates and see if we can get some participation from them?
Absolutely.
And if there is somebody that wants to, then we'll
I'll
just
work
partner
with you on
with
that, Daniel. If you get a person within any one of those affiliates that's interested, I will help them, you know, get set up with the DOT, and we'll do it jointly.
Okay, Richard?
So my question is are we doing this as the Libertarian Party of Colorado or as the Libertarian Party of, say, Denver County or the Libertarian Party of Boulder County?
Initially, I think I was charged to do this on behalf of the state party.
All right, so with that in mind, I don't think it matters what county we go in. Myself, as long as we're not stepping on any county's toes and it is officially our sign says Libertarian Party of Colorado, we could go anywhere, including, to me, Douglas County or anywhere else that has an affiliate. So we can reach out and ask for help. But if I were in a local group that was active, that would be one of the questions that I would ask. Am I advertising my party or am I advertising the state party? Both are good, but it's something to consider as we reach out to these other groups.
Well,
So
frankly, I think outside of the people in this room and the people that are involved in those, the people that drive by the sign would know the difference between the Libertarian Party of Douglas County, the Libertarian Party of Colorado, the Libertarian Party of El Paso County.
David, you had something?
This is sort of tangential. We get volunteers signing up on the website, and we have 5 categories. There's issues and local groups and outreach and clerical and campaigns. But I'm not doing anything with these names, but they're available to people who are looking for volunteers. So, you know, let me know if you want the list. I'll get it to you.
Yeah.
and that's Dave, that's when they sign up, they're checking those boxes and that sort of thing. Okay. So we've now been using all the tools we have available for volunteers.
Maybe we can find a convention committee there.
Okay. National Platform Committee. Karen, this is yours.
Yeah, but I have a suggestion first that I'd like everyone to consider. We're supposed to decide whether we wanted to appoint tonight or hunt off another month. We have 7 applicants. One of them's from out of state. So that's question number 1. Do we want to resolve that this month? The second issue is I'm somewhat concerned that some of our board members aren't here, though Eric resigned, so that's not a concern. But Steve's not here. It's difficult to do it over. Is Michael on the line still? There's a program that we use in the Radical Caucus called OPA-Vote, and it's an electronic voting system that I could send everyone a link to. We can do it in a 2-day turnaround time from this meeting, and that way everyone can vote. And it's kind of interesting. It'll do like a true ranked choice type thing, and we can do first choice be the appointee, the second one be the alternate. And this way everyone can vote. And I would like to test the system out because I think we could use it for other things. We've used it successfully in the Radical Caucus for a year and a half. It's pretty, you've seen it, it's pretty cool.
And we've already tried approval voting as a group, and we did like it. Thank you, Frank. But I don't think it's a mistake to try other alternative voting systems either. And ranked choice is another one that's up there as a recognized, good, strong alternative voting system. I kind of echo what Karen Ann says, although I would say I would like to punt additional applications until next month and decide next month. I'm not in a hurry for an appointment on this, and partly because I don't want this committee to meet on a national level and come up with some crazy recommendations and suggestions and that sort of thing. So we have the time. We're not in a rush to do this. I would motion that we extend application period for 30 days and readdress at our December meeting.
Any discussion on that? Any objections to Richard's motion? Okay, that passes. We'll address it next month.
So I'll send out another email. I encourage you to read the packets that I did already send out, but I'll.
The revised packet.
The revised packet that actually has Richard in it. I don't know what happened.
Is the revised really that important?
How many slots are there? Are there 7 slots?
No, we
only said
one.
Just one.
Yeah.
And an alternate.
Lapsed National Party follow-up. Daniel, want to give us a report on your success with that?
Well, we've called out to between 400 and 500 people so far in this past month on the Lapsed Party membership list. That results into about 1 person per 100 that gives a positive affirmative, I'm going to re-up my membership. We've gotten about 4 or 5 that told myself and Eric that they would re-up. Most of the numbers are just plain bad numbers. So ultimately what we're doing is we're going through and we're scrubbing a bunch of bad contacts from this list to send back up to national. And once we do that, hopefully the process down the line will be a lot smoother. But right now there's something like 1,600 names in the lapsed member list, and that's going to take a while to get through.
Some of those names I undoubtedly have been downloaded, including phone numbers, into our own website. If you could make sure that when you send that to national, you also, Dave gets a copy. That way we can go through and scrub that, or you all have access yourselves. You can always go in and scrub the phone number and save the profile yourself as well. So,
good to go.
But don't do that unless you know what you're doing. See Dave first.
Mike, you had something?
It was the same thing Richard said.
To jump in on these calls. We have been doing them on Fridays. I think I'm going to switch that to a Saturday. I think we'll get a lot more actual answers from the numbers that work if we do it on a weekend. Due to Eric's schedule, though, Friday was what worked best. But typically we'll meet online and we'll agree to meet back again hour and a half later and kind of compare results. It's not a whole lot. It doesn't produce much meeting online, but it does actually get people involved and get them calling.
Richard.
So as a reminder, we have a whole list of volunteers that are interested in clerical work that I would recommend you maybe see if you can get a hold of that list of volunteers. And if you can get a phone drive together, something similar like you've been doing, and go from there. But if we have the volunteers that are interested in clerical work, what more clerical do you get than this? So
very true. Well, healing people, smacking people with a hammer.
I'll go to some new business. The first thing we have here is Clayton has a need for some additional support on some equipment needs. Clayton, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you need?
Sure. So I'm requesting roughly $300 for something known as a capture card. And what that'll allow us to do is take the output from any given camera, for example, the one I bought partially for this purpose, and allow us to use it in our output as opposed to something like our current technology, which it does work, but it's not very good quality. And also we'd be able to use this for any kind of recordings if we want to make any professional videos or whatever the party's needs are. It allows us to upgrade our live streams and also for recordings. The one I'm looking at works on Linux, Mac, and Windows, so anyone who needs it would be able to use it. And any standard camera of any of the various brands should work, assuming they have standard outputs, but most of them have HDMI. So, and also as an added incentive, I'd be willing to upgrade my laptop, which is it's very underpowered for what I use it as, and I'd be willing to upgrade it to meet our needs.
Does this handle 4K?
The ones I was looking at were 1080p. There are 4K ones available, but they're at increased costs.
We don't really need 4K, it's just for future proofing.
Right.
That's a lot of it's going toward that.
I was looking at them, and
Okay, but it's a lot more cost.
yeah, and there's compromises in the solutions for 4K. So
Plus, it takes more room on your hard drive. So.
Right. So it would definitely be looking into the future. 4K would definitely be the way to go, and that's the first thing I looked at. And if anybody would be interested in discussing the solution with me, I'll email out some of the research that I've done, and if we can find a 4K solution, then I'm 100% for that.
What's the additional cost to go with the 4K?
I don't have that on hand, but it's, well, the main thing is the current technologies require, like for example, USB 3, works just fine for 1080p solutions, but once you hit 4K, you're pushing so much data at once. You need like PCIe pass through. You just need things that I'm not going to be able to use. So you need professional hardware at this point that's just what's technologically available. So if I had professional hardware, which if you guys want to spend the money for that, but as a reasonable cost go, a 1080p connector will work for anybody. So
my question, forgive me, go ahead, Richard.
So in the interest of fiscal conservatism, what is the problem that we need to fix, and does this fix the problem long term?
It upgrades our video quality, which is not a necessity. This works fine. And I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
Well, I guess I'm wondering, so we're looking for this part, and basically I'm trying to figure out what the problem is now, and if this is the best fiscal solution, or if this is worth spending the money now or waiting down the road. That's what I'm trying to determine as far as how I'm going to vote.
I don't see.
Is there a problem now? Or is it just a quality thing? In which case that would be if you guys have not viewed our YouTube live stream before, it is not the smoothest, it's fuzzy. It's not a very high quality. So that may be the problem, but I'm just trying to see if there's other problem that's in there that
Sure.
this would
Well,
solve.
another thing the capture card does do is it converts the stream to something that is usable. So without that functionality,
i.e. we could edit videos, like it would save it as an MP4 or something similar, and we could then go in and edit and chop. Or
you can do that anyways. It's more about the codecs, which this actually does. It does it itself, but I don't see waiting doing us any benefit, because again, once you increase the quality to 4K or whatever, you need a higher bandwidth that typical, like for example, USB 3.0 ports don't support. You need PCIe pass through, or you need just different technologies, which.
So bottom line, this would give us more flexibility in the future as far as editing. Is that right? Or no?
No. Make it a little harder, it's higher quality. It takes more horsepower to handle it.
I'm just trying to understand what the need is. That's all I'm trying to get to. And so I agree,
It's quality.
we do have a need for quality, but if quality is it, then I just want everybody on the board who's not technologically savvy to understand that we're talking about purely video quality.
Sure, and it'll also allow any party member who has access to this to use their camera. So we could get more recordings and which I guess technically they could borrow this. But I mean, you can use any standard consumer camera on the low end or the high end.
Okay. So this would allow us to then upgrade our camera down the road if we wanted to, and that sort of thing. And
Right,
we would
right.
need more technology.
And I have personally purchased a camera for this. I mean, partially for this purpose. So I already have. As soon as we get this, I can upgrade our video quality. And I tried a different solution, a solution that was built into the camera, and it's I can't do it without a capture card.
Okay.
So
Can you remind me again what the cost was, just as a point of information?
it's roughly $300.
Okay.
How many people watch the YouTube stream?
It's pretty low. It's
Like 20?
Ish, 20 or less on average when I've seen it.
And can we use this for convention?
Yes.
Video recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Kim?
Would this allow us to utilize the equipment to make campaign videos or
Yes.
that sort of thing? Little YouTube videos discussing
And they'd be
various
higher
issues?
quality as opposed to fuzzy. That's a good idea.
As long as you had a camera, which you could either borrow from someone, potentially me, or if you already had a camera. Yes.
From the sounds of it, this would it's not addressing a need necessarily right now, but it does increase our capabilities for doing things beyond quality, but also different videos, stuff like that. The one thing I think we have as a party had a problem with is not fully utilizing our resources. And I'd say if there's any one person in this party who has fully utilized the resources we've given them so far, it has been Clayton. And then I think if we can actually get on it and make use of this as well, it could be a very worthwhile investment.
Do you want to make a motion?
Motion. So I motion to allow Clayton to spend no more than, you said it's 300, roughly. No more than $325 on a capture card without first consulting with the board.
But he can spend without.
Up to $325.
We have any further discussion on that? All right, any
I second
objections? I'm sorry, John.
Second. Do you need a second?
It does not.
No. Okay, any objections? Okay, it's on you.
Thank you.
All right, next one, National Membership Drive. Karen, that's you.
It's it.
Yep.
I didn't. No, I didn't. Well, I
It's
didn't
in
put
there.
that on there. Well, I didn't put that on there, but I'll say something about it in general, which I did at the beginning. Again, we have till December, the end of December, whatever the last day in December is, to keep our top 10 position, and that's really important. The original email that came out from Alicia said the end of this month, but there's a weird calculation, so it turns out to be the end of December. So let's not let Michigan or Washington or anyone else kick us out of the top 10 because, I'd be very sad.
And you don't want to see Karen Ann sad.
You don't want to see me sad or angry.
How many
How
do
many
we
signups
need
did you get
to
last
keep
night?
up?
You never know because it depends on how hard Michigan is pushing. They're behind us by 1.
Ooh.
That is really tight. Washington's behind us by like 15. It's not big numbers here. And we have to catch up with number 8, we have to get like 20. To get another delegate, we have to get 20 from the number we have now.
21.
20 more. You get about 1 delegate for approximately every 20 national members.
Did we go up or down in total number or membership?
The party as a whole national membership in general has gone down.
I meant the state, Colorado.
We went up in rankings, and I think we lost a net total of like 1. It's stabilized right now. It's not increasing, it's not dropping, but we went up a rank because apparently some other states dropped a lot and we haven't.
I'm just curious if the phone calling, see if the phone calling had made
This
any
was,
difference.
these numbers were released a couple of weeks ago, so it wouldn't
Wouldn't have been affected by that then, no?
You'll see that in December.
Okay.
Okay. Next item we have on the agenda is fundraising email. We don't have a fundraising director at this point, but you want to talk to that anyway?
Yeah, so we have these opt-ins that we want to send a fundraising email out for. I'm not a fundraiser to write an effective fundraising email. I know some tips from what I learned at National, but I would like someone to write it who actually knows how to write an effective fundraising email.
I do have some marketing experience and I've done fundraising since I was in high school, so I'd be happy to step up to that, help you guys out with that.
Okay, this is the category where we're at. It's people that have proactively opted into our site to ask to hear from us.
Okay.
So it's not entirely a cold contact. So it's people we just got email addresses for through this data mining that we did.
I have no issue with cold calls either way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's the type of prospect we have. These people have already got one email from us and then took another step to actually go to our website and opt in.
Those are the best people to talk to. Lukewarm leads are the best, in my experience.
I think this brings up another question. I'm not sure we fully addressed the resignation of Eric Mulder. What is our process to replace a board member, number one?
That was my handwritten part of the agenda, but we can go ahead and address that.
Eric is chairing at least two committees currently, and I'm not sure if he's on additional committees beyond that, and he's resigned from
chair at least
all of his committee functions as well. So
we'll pin him down tomorrow. I'll find out exactly what his intentions are.
So first point, do we have the option as a board just to nominate and elect a replacement, or does that go beyond that?
No, we can
That was on the agenda next. Guys, my thought is, as a general rule, anytime we've had an opening on the board, we put it out to the public for 30 days. And that's not in our bylaws that we have to do it for 30 days, but we've always put it out to the public that we have a need. We happen to have a young man here that came to our meeting tonight that has fundraising experience, that does have an interest in possibly stepping up to this. Where do you stand on that right now, Justin? Are you still interested?
I think I would be, yeah.
If you write the email already.
I don't know, guys, if you want, we can go ahead and make a decision tonight, or we can put it out for a couple of weeks and see if anybody else wants to compete with Justin for this position.
I would like to see some competition. I appreciate, Justin, your willingness, and I would certainly ask if you have that marketing experience, Karen Ann, your communications, if you can write a draft email, get it to Karen Ann and see if that gets a seal of approval, we can send it out. But I think it's important that we reach out to the membership and we get everybody who's interested to submit their names.
That's the way we've done it all along.
Yes.
So I think I'm in agreement with you.
I don't like us being without any fundraising for another month.
Well, we can.
Could we have an interim fundraising director until we, have an official?
You're looking at them. It's me and Wayne, and in the absence of any board member, the chair and vice chair take over.
Okay, write the letter.
So, and I've tasked it to a volunteer. So we're moving along there. But I mean, that's how a board functions. Is in the absence of anybody, the chair and vice chair would naturally take over. Now, that said, I know my time is very limited. I don't know what Wayne's time looks like. So any volunteer efforts from anybody, any board member. I mean, you guys got to remember, we are all part of a political party, which is a machine. And that machine, one of the major functions of that machine is raising money. We should all be working to raise as much money as possible at everything that we do. And so, yes, we're down a fundraising director, but that doesn't mean fundraising stops. There are 10 other members of this board who should be trying to raise money every single day.
I'm thinking, do you think 2 weeks would be long enough to put it out to the public?
Yep. Yes.
Because a month is just going to take us in deeper into the holidays. We're not going to get anything else.
I think 2 weeks is sufficient. Then we can do an email vote.
Let's go ahead and plan on doing a phone meeting 2 weeks from today. And by that time, we'll see if anybody else wants to throw their hat in the ring. At this point, Justin Matthew has thrown his hat in, so he's our and then in 2 weeks we'll have a phone meeting, and let's plan on 7 o'clock. 2 weeks. We'll be about a 5-10 minute meeting. We'll make a decision at that point.
How does this get communicated to the membership?
I do that.
So you're gonna do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it
quickly.
tomorrow or the next day, because I
And
just sent out a mass
As
email
you've
about
done
the extension of the platform.
with your other committee, gather some resume information and from those people that are interested, right?
Yes,
So you want the same thing from Justin?
yes. Well, I'll have a jot form, and I'll send it to you that it fills out information. Yeah.
Job forms, fantastic.
Love jot form.
So as far as the 27th, I will not be able to make that meeting. Is there going to be an option to vote an abstention? Or no?
Yeah, you can give a proxy or.
I don't believe in proxies. This is,
Just vote in advance.
Richard, is there a date that works better for you? It doesn't have to be.
Just vote in advance.
I mean, if we wanted to meet, say, 8 o'clock on Tuesday, the 28th, I could do that. And if we're only looking at a 5-10 minute meeting, I'm closing my store that night. That's the only reason why I can't do that.
So Tuesday the 28th at 8 o'clock would work for you?
That would be fine. I can call in from there.
Everybody else?
I have no idea.
Yeah, good for me.
See, and because there's no idea and it's 2 weeks out, I'm just concerned about I'd rather this be an email vote in 2 years. That or an OPA vote or what have you. I'd rather do this in an electronic vote as opposed to having a quick meeting about it, especially if it's only going to be 5 or 10 minutes. We can have discussion via email, and we can say, hey, we're opening the vote from this time to this time. Make sure you get your vote in.
Anybody else have any feelings on that?
I think the phone would be a lot quicker. Not everybody's on email every moment. Not
Email
much in
actually
advance.
allows for discussion though, because not everyone will be able to make the phone meeting.
That's true.
And if we're going to be appointing another board member, I think all board members should have some input on it at some point.
I would like to try the OPA vote.
I'm sorry?
I would like to try the OPA vote. I think that would be an interesting.
Is that practical for this?
OPA vote is for it's usually for multi-position, because it's for multi-seat things. So for one position, no, it's not really the best way to do it.
But approval voting does work. And so OPA vote for, say, platform committee, approval voting by electronic means for a board position would make more sense.
Could I just, in conjunction with this board replacement, his committee assignments as well, we went through the process for committees with, people submitting a request to be included. So we want to include his functions at the same time and gather.
May as well.
They seem linked from what I've heard from the meeting.
Not necessarily, and I found putting more in an email guarantees less responses. Simple, better, do you want to do this? Click here. Not a list of things, people don't read them.
And the committees that Eric was on are committees that the chair can appoint somebody to that role. We voted, I think we voted for policy manual, but we don't have to per se. It's an ad hoc committee. And we voted, I think, for convention committee. But again, I don't think that is required in our bylaws. Karen Ann, you're the other bylaw wonk.
What?
Voting on convention committee. I know policy manual, we don't need to.
It's not in the bylaws.
Okay, so we could have the chair just appoint those positions if there's interest shown. We don't need to do an application or anything.
Would it not be good to at least let the membership know that we're looking for additional help on those committees? See if we get volunteers.
Well, but as a reminder, Wayne said that, and I'm sorry for, as a reminder, Wayne said that he was going to reach out to Eric tomorrow and clarify if he's leaving the committees or if he just doesn't want to be chair anymore. And so without that vital piece of information, we may or may not need help if he's willing to still serve on the committee.
If he's not, then we would just assume we could go ahead and request volunteers.
The policy manual committee was board members, so we wouldn't do an open call for that because it's our operating policy. That's not something we would bring in. So when we find out from Eric if he's going to stay on the committee, we'll have to decide at that point if we as a board want to replace it or just keep it with the 3 people. Honestly, it's been us 3 that have been doing it. Remember, this committee doesn't adopt anything. We're
providing recommendations.
providing a recommendations for a policy manual that the board will end up approving. So we could replace or not replace, because it's been me, John, and Richard really that have been doing it.
We'll have more information tomorrow. Guys, I think Mike's point that the phone call is quicker, but I do like the idea of everybody being able to have an input, which we can certainly do by email. So, guys, give me some thoughts here. What do you want to do?
I'd prefer not to have another meeting, because I probably guarantee you I have 2 meetings already that night.
I feel very similar. I'm nowhere near Karen Ann's level, but I am on 6 different committees between various factions within the party and LPCO.
All right, well, we will address this on email.
I know, right?
We'll address this on email. You guys will have a, I would say in 2 weeks, but I'm going to put kind of a short fuse on it, because as soon as I put this out, I want everybody to be checking their email and respond very quickly so that we don't drag this thing out. If we give this 2 weeks for the public, and then everybody sits on their email for 10 days.
They can't. Our bylaws don't, or our rules say 3 days or whatever for emails. The email is going to be 3 days no matter what.
Let's try to keep it at that. The last couple of times we've had email votes, we've had people that. It's not good.
Well,
I will call you if you don't vote by the morning of the 3rd day.
Excellent.
Okay. Good. Candidates page.
Well, that was David and Kim.
And I'm not entirely sure what the hell we're talking about.
Okay.
Oh, I like it though.
Um,
I can take the ball.
I'm not entirely sure what the capabilities are of the web platform that we have. What do we want to include? What do we want this to do?
We want this to be the list of currently confirmed people that are interested in seats that will.
Okay, is this people that have submitted their intent to run letters?
Okay, I'm not a campaign, so
no.
I'm actually saying,
Okay.
what would you think would be a good purpose for
I
this?
thought we were making up separate candidate pages so that they would have a free website for their campaign. I thought that was the whole
No.
purpose, and we were using
That's
Nation.
what I remember as well.
Yeah.
So
No.
this
And
is,
we
this is
spent
where
some
my
time
confusion is
voting on
coming
that.
in.
No.
Is it
Yes.
just a
I don't know where
list?
this came from.
Or is it a like Washington had the pictures?
Yeah,
with the
that's what
link?
I'm talking about.
So-
Like Washington.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
my thought would be a picture, name, and a link to their website, but only on letter of intent candidates, because we don't want to out anybody and violate those SOS
Right.
rules by outing them and saying,
And
oh,
want to
they
make it
declared.
clear that
Yeah.
it's subject to nominating convention. We did not say we were going to give web pages to candidates. The reason why I know this is because we're limited to 10 domains, and we wouldn't do that. We were already questioning whether that would be enough for affiliates. What we did offer was to give data dumps to candidates after they got our nominations, not
We
to
weren't
give
doing
web pages.
subdomains or something like that?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay. All
we're
right. Never mind.
not doing websites. We could do a simple picture.
Yeah.
If that's what you
And-
want.
yeah,
A simple
But-
what?
Picture.
Picture. Okay, sorry.
But,
Like
you know,
Washington, though.
you've got to make up your mind about whether or not you want to spend your time recruiting candidates or spend it on a website.
Putting it on the website helps to recruit, because sometimes people who are thinking about running for office go and look at our site. And if we don't look like we're actually doing politics and running candidates, it's not worth it. National recommends that you get your candidates, the people that are seeking the nomination on the website. So like Arizona, they have 3 people who are seeking the governor nomination, and they're all up there.
Put 2 of them up there.
What?
I said, and they typically put 2 of them up there.
Well, they're all 3 up there, I think now. I don't know.
They finally got that straightened out.
Which Arizona party?
Okay, so what we need from each candidate is a link to their website, a picture. What dimensions do we require for the picture? What
we
kind
can
of-
we can always resize. I would say quality is going to be a higher quality picture.
Do the same size as the leadership page.
Board bios.
Yeah.
The board bios.
I just resize whatever they give me.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what
don't
is
tell
that?
them size, just take the photo.
We'll take the photo. We'll figure out how to make it.
And it's small enough.
Let's,
You don't have to
let's give them a minimum at least. You know, you don't want
Minimum
to be getting.
250 by 250.
Okay,
That would be a very, very small sort of headshot, but I think that would be.
But that's,
and are we
he's
looking
talking
for a 32
pixels.
DPI or
Pixels.
150 DPI?
No, he's saying 250 by 250 pixels.
Yes, but this is the.
Yeah, DPI is different.
DPI is not your
Ye-
printed.
Yes, I understand that. I'm asking about the size being 250 by 250 and the quality of the image being web-based at 72 DPI, or do we want to go a little better and go for 150?
250 is the total number of pixels, so depending on your size, that would tell you what your DPI is.
Yeah,
Your DPI won't have an effect on the actual website that comes in.
Right, but if they printed this.
Just don't worry about it. Just tell them send a photo, and whatever you get, we can work on it.
I would do 72 DPI. Yeah, as just a basic. No sense forcing people to get a higher quality
Send
photo.
a decent picture.
And you have to have clothes on with it.
Why?
It says who?
We're trying to get folks here.
Clothing mandatory.
Don't tell me
I'm
what to
writing
do.
this down.
Ask them for 3 different campaigns.
Yeah, you pick what you like.
Okay, and so web address, and do we want to put anything else, just,
We'll put the position.
Well, we'll have the race there.
Yeah.
Erase their name, their phone number, their email, and their website.
I'm cautious to even do phone number.
Yeah, I'll just do the website.
Yeah,
If anything,
if they want to put that on their website,
sentence
but
bio.
do you want to do a 1-2 sentence bio?
I'd say something like that, like a teaser bio, and then
Or
finish it
why
off
I'm
with
running,
a link to the website.
or maybe just a slogan, a candidate slogan or something.
You could ask them for bullet points about themselves.
So here's sorry.
Not the
Okay.
Yeah.
Since this is pre-nomination, I don't think we need all that
I
information.
agree.
Yeah,
After we nominate our candidates at convention, we'll expand that page out to include points or whatever. But right now, these are people just seeking our nomination. It doesn't need to be complex.
Well, I would add we might reconsider at that point. I mean, if we really get 70 candidates, we try to put 70 candidates with say 2 bullet points each. That's a lot. So we may want to revisit depending on how many nominations we get and see what we want to do. I think for now we don't need that at all.
okay.
Next item we have here is Cynthia Lopez and the Green Valley Ranch. Karen put this on the agenda.
Yeah, but you were that's that lady.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay, that's what, okay.
So you defer to the chair.
I do.
Guys, we've all heard about this lady that she purchased a home about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago with Green Valley Ranch. She's trying to sell it now, and the city of Denver is saying that she cannot sell it for market value because it is one of the homes that was selected to be in the affordable housing program for the city of Denver. She says she was not aware of it being one of the affordable housing homes.
Read your contract.
I pulled up the deed. There's no deed restriction in place on this home. She has. When she bought it, it was not advertised as an affordable housing home. I have the MLS printout. But she used down payment assistance. And apparently her income, they'd done some research, and her income did not qualify for the low income housing. She bought the home for $30,000 under market value. I did the research, I pulled up the comps. She bought it for $30,000 under market value, and it was a cherry. It wasn't a fix-up house. The house was perfect, it needed nothing. So she bought that house for $30,000 less than what the market value was. She was in a bidding competition, paid $4,000 more than it was listed for. But now she is presenting she's been to the news, and both Channel 7 and 31 both have articles on this. And she's saying she was not aware that there was any type of restriction on the sale of the home, nor did she know that it was a property that was part of the affordable housing program that Denver was putting on. I believe the fact that she didn't know, or if she did, she's hiding it very well. It was not publicized the way it was advertised in the MLS that it was in fact one of the affordable housing properties. In my research, none of the properties that are in the Denver affordable housing have an actual deed restriction in place, which I find to be very peculiar, but it is what it is. So, Karen, on this one.
There's more to it than that. There's
There
another
is.
issue. The more important one is after she started squawking about it, now they're telling her she has to sell her house in 30 days and get the hell out because her income when she bought it wouldn't have met the qualifications.
Right. But once again, she says she didn't know about it.
Right. So now not only.
And wasn't it their job to figure that out?
She was like, at first she was like, fine, because it's only in place for a certain amount of time. She goes, okay, I'll wait 6 years. I didn't want to, but I'll wait 6 years and sell the house in 6 years. And she was gonna let it go, but now they gave her a letter to get out in 30 days.
Nope. Man. And she has to put the home on the market at what the city of Denver is telling her she has to price it at rather than market value, which is almost $80,000 less than what the actual market value.
But her deed does not indicate anything related to this. Then she needs a lawyer.
Yeah.
She has a lawyer.
Okay, good.
And Karen thought that this might be something that we need to get involved in, but where I'm struggling here is I don't know who to believe here. And based upon what I have seen, because she bought it way below market, and she got down payment assistance to buy the home, I'm not so sure that I buy the fact that she wasn't aware that this was a affordable housing, a home in the affordable housing program. David?
What's the normal process for flagging a home to be in this program?
Great question, David. The way the affordable housing program works in Green Valley Ranch, which is where her home is, the builders that build the homes new are given a $5,500 credit to build, and then they put aside a certain amount of the homes that they're building for this particular program. Then the city pays them $5,500 for each one that they put in the program. The builders then advertise them as an affordable housing program home. And then the people that buy the homes have to qualify based upon income restrictions.
Mm-hmm. But do they put it on the deed? Do they?
No, they just advertise it that way. I haven't been able to find any that had a deed restriction in place. Right?
So the builders got $5,500 credit to sell a house for $30,000 below market? Not real smart builder.
And it's more than $30,000. That was a year and a half ago. It's more than that because we have the appreciating market that we have.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what it was at the time when she bought it.
Did she buy it new?
She did not. She bought it from the guy that bought it. He originally bought it, but once the home's in the system, it stays in the system.
Okay.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
That should be on the deed. Otherwise, it's not really part of the home.
Without a deed restriction in place, I don't know how the city of Denver can hold the line on this.
Yeah.
Well, I have a gun.
Yeah.
That's true.
I have a title company that's helping me with this, but frankly, they've been dragging their feet, getting me the information. I don't know why. I'm waiting to see if they have any other restrictions that are of record. At this point, we don't have that. I can't find anything in the article related to the fact that there's nothing of record either.
Well, that raises an interesting question. Now, what about her title insurance when she bought it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Her title insurance company did, once again, if it's not on the deed, the title insurance company doesn't know anything about this.
Right.
Yeah, but isn't that why you buy title insurance?
Compromising
Protect your
the title.
profit.
No, but it is compromising the title because it can't be sold for full price.
It's a cloud on the title.
Yeah.
and
It is.
That's the term.
Very much so.
And there is.
Not that I'm trying to give her advice, I'm
Yeah,
more concerned with the
title
libertarian
insurance
issues
company is
involved.
scrambling right now as well. And I think that the agent that had the home listed and that did not expose it as being one of the program homes, they're exposed a little bit here, so there's some problems. I'm not sure what our involvement should be here.
Well, and that was going to be my question is if we were to get involved, what would that look like? But what is she asking for us to be involved?
She's not. This is something that
Somebody
Karen
emailed
actually
us.
brought it to my attention, and I already had the wheels in motion. I already called the title company and already pulled up the MLS stuff because I saw it on the news. And I thought, well, this is interesting. I want to see if I can find out more about it. And I came up drunk. I got nothing.
Okay.
So,
So how does this help
she's
our
telling
party?
the truth or not.
I mean, how does this help our party to jump on this?
Well, when I think maybe you guys are, I'm not saying we need to, go and like fight your battles for it, but I think we should issue some kind of statement on the libertarian issues that are impacted,
Which are?
which are being able to freely sell your property, that the state isn't involving itself in the free market. And it caused this whole problem where they're telling her to get out in 30 days, that it's the state interfering with people's property rights.
Well, there's another issue, and that's the fact that she got a bargain on the home because of the program.
Right.
And now she wants to sell it outside of the program parameters.
How do you know though,
Well, we don't. That's where the problem is.
You as a realtor are thinking, oh, that should have been a big red flag when someone's getting a good deal. But to your average person, they just think they're getting a good deal.
Right.
We don't know.
But I'm just saying, you're coming at it with some professional knowledge that to me, I'd be like,
Well, yeah, but from a
But the professional knowledge does play an impact here, depending on how we want to get involved or the statement we want to issue, because we want to make sure that before we issue a statement like that, all of our T's are crossed and I's dotted too.
Right.
So I appreciate hearing both sides. I definitely hear the libertarian argument that she should be able to sell, but I don't want to come out and say she should. Well, I mean, I guess we could. It's state interference regardless. We could still issue a statement regardless.
it could be worded in a way that even if she was lying is still a libertarian point here. But I tend to believe her because I think if she had done something sneaky, she wasn't going to go and running screaming to the state about it.
This could also be a very good example of libertarianism education, to point out the libertarian issues, to not come down on either side, but to simply say, this is an issue that can happen when the state gets involved, and when you have overreaching government and unintended consequences, here you go.
It like that. I don't want to support her, not support her either way, but I think educating the public as this is an issue is definitely a not something that is something we should consider. That we should.
I think we should use it as an illustration of libertarian platform.
And the other
issue, I'll tell you what it is. Either the libertarian position supports her on the purchase and the sale, or the problem is we can't be on both sides of this because she took advantage of a state-sponsored or city-sponsored
You
program.
don't know that.
The state is saying, but this is what we're illustrating. The state is saying that she took advantage of a program that she says she did not, that she had no knowledge of. There is nothing in the deed. This is where the
There's nothing in the deed on any of them.
But that's the problem.
But this is a problem that the state now has, and that the state should have been aware of. That if they don't put it in writing, they don't have a leg to stand on
And all
unless
this
they want to
interest-
do it at the point of a gun.
I see what Wayne's saying here. If we look like we're coming down on her side and then it comes out that she knew she was buying this under that program and trying to pull a fast one on the state and pocket the cash, as much as we like to see people pull fast ones on the state, that is not necessarily the public position that we can take. We need to be very, very careful in that.
I'm not saying that we come down on either side. I'm just saying that we use it as an illustration to say.
But we can be
Right.
perceived as coming down on
So-
either side, even if we're careful with it.
But here, I mean, how this was presented to us, and I was an outsider, was these are the facts. And we laid out the facts, and then if you did that, say in paragraph 1, paragraph 2 would be like, regardless of how you feel about this, lying otherwise doesn't matter. Property rights, the government needs to stay out of, and that's a clear example as to why the government needs to keep out, regardless of who's right, who's wrong, what they knew ahead of time, that sort of thing. So it can't be crafted and slotted in a way that is still pushing the education point of libertarianism without necessarily choosing a side, just presenting the facts and how convoluted it is and why we need the government out of property in general.
Well, and
I think that's exactly what we got down on this year. Guys, right now, because she has an attorney, and she's not speaking to anybody at this point. So I don't know that we're going to be able to come up with all the information. Clayton, you have something?
Michael?
This is, it's a great opportunity to inform people of, even if she was aware or wasn't aware, the trap of these state programs. Because I have ran into people that's becoming a big issue, that people are taking these student loan forgiveness programs, and then they're coming back at the time they file their income taxes, or they're getting letters saying that their wages have been garnished because all of a sudden they've taken this forgiveness program, and then they're making too much income to qualify for these programs. So the state traps them into these low levels of prosperity, where it's a trap and people are ill-informed about it. So it's a great opportunity for us to educate people on the traps of whether she did or knowingly didn't, the traps of these government programs.
I think that's the stance we have to take. One way or another, the state made a mistake on this, either on the buy side or on the sell side. So I think that's where I think that's probably the best position for us if we decide that we want to pursue this. I'd really like to get more information before we stick our neck out.
Yeah, so here's my thoughts I don't think we as a party should do anything at this point. However, I think if there is somebody who wants to write something pointing this out, this can still be used as an educational tool, regardless of if this board decides we want to stick our neck out there or not. We've got lots of writers. I can do some writing, although in this particular issue, I'm not very well versed. I think Daniel can write a little bit. We have Jay who can write and is very good at expressing libertarian thoughts, viewpoints, and that sort of thing. I would say if we have a writer who wants to write about it, maybe we circulate it through communications, through a newsletter that Steve's putting together, Facebook group, all that good stuff, and that we as a board maybe stay out of it otherwise until we know more information. That would be my thought.
Reach out to Jay and see if he's willing to write something on this. I'll talk to him about it. Just have to call me and we'll discuss it with all of the information that I have at my disposal at this point. And maybe Jay wants to run with this or not. If not, then somebody else might want to step up. I'm a horrible writer, guys, so that is not my wheelhouse. I know Steve Gallant, he's a professional writer. Jay obviously is our guy right now. But let's reach out to Jay first and we'll see if he wants to run with this.
But there's another issue that y'all haven't brought up, is if it's not on the title, how many other ticking time bombs are there out there of people who might get this nasty surprise? And the second issue is, this is the whole thing that like kind of Richard brought up. So you have affordable housing and you get people in there with absolutely no incentive to keep the neighborhood or the property nice because they're not going to be able to sell it at a profit. And it keeps then people who are the most vulnerable, sometimes in the worst housing, that maybe the cheaper materials were used, or maybe someone did their own wiring in the wall.
She can have a profit. She said multiple times in the interview that she was going to have to sell it at no profit, and that's not true. She bought it at $152,000, and the city of Denver is allowing her to sell for $189,000 a year and a half later. So it's not that there's no profit allowed. It's just that the amount of profit is not as much as what the current market conditions would allow.
33% profit
in a year.
That's a
Almost
that's a
2
pretty
years.
good term.
That is a pretty good return.
But there's more. She can get more.
Hey, that goes off on the different.
So that's another rabbit trail. at this point, we're gonna have to be very, very careful, I think, how we jump into this thing, because we could very easily put out a position on this and end up, because of lack of information, not be in a very good spot when the information actually does come out. So, well, let's reach out to Jay. Let's see if he can wordsmith this in a way that that can support our position without us.
As an educational focus, yeah, without endorsing one side or another. I think that's the key.
Okay. I think that's all we had at this point. So we're going to be doing an email vote for our replacement of our fundraising director, and Justin is our first candidate. We'll put this out for only 2 weeks. If we have somebody else, we're going to have to make a decision. If not, then we'll have to vote on Justin by himself. So we'll see what that lays out. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about before we wrap this up? Go ahead, Frank.
With regards to Center Right Coalition that Kathleen Chandler is hosting here at Independence Institute for Local Government, and with regards to approval voting this Friday and Saturday, Friday evening, here in this room, there'll be a legislative lessons learned and ambitions for the next General Assembly. And for Saturday in Glendale, there'll be a electoral reform symposium all day. See me for details. Yes, Kim?
No,
Oh,
I was
okay.
going to be next. If anybody has not signed the Stop the Shakedown petition paper, feel free to do so.
Okay. So guys, I move that we go ahead and adjourn this and then go directly to our executive meeting, which will only take a few minutes. Does anybody have any objections to adjourn?
Michael, please stay on the line and I'll keep you on here, but I can stop the broadcast.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you guys. We are adjourned.